It's now time for Issues and Attitudes.
And a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, General Manager at WEIU. My co-host is Michelle Bravo. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi.
Hi. We got a hi today. And our guest making his, biannual appearance here, Mr. Ed Dowd, Mattoon Chamber of Commerce Executive Director. How you doing?
Very good. Good afternoon. Just turned afternoon,
There you
right?
go.
So, yes.
Well, thanks for coming over on this cold Monday here in Charleston to talk all things Mattoon. Why don't we start off with, I guess, what everybody seems to be always, the number one thing is the Emerald Acres Sports Connection, the complex, and kind of where we're at in that phase right now, and if you can give us an update.
Sure. So, they found out that they have a few issues with, or opportunities, I should say. You don't want to say issues, but opportunities with how they're going to structure the agreements with the different agencies. So the school district, the county, and the municipality all have taxing bodies. And apparently the school district taxing body, they have to rework it a little bit to make it more of a TIF area rather than a business district. So that's slowing the process down a little bit, but they think it's going to be an easy fix. And they are still hoping to break ground probably late spring would be fantastic to start on the indoor component, which is the 136,000 square foot multifunctional building. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And then what about the other taxi bodies? Will that be simpler then, or is it?
Yes, the other taxi bodies they're all on board. They all agreed. So to the provision. So it's going to should be a pretty simple process once they get they have to go through the state a little bit. And anytime you go through the state, you're always going to have a few issues here and there. But
you're not going to, you don't rifle right through that with
correct.
That.
Correct.
Let's just say the taxi bodies all get everything, and you get okay with the state, or they get okay with the state. Like to build that gigantic facility there, what's the time frame if they started? Like it would take 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, or
they're hoping to have it done by the end of the year. That phase of it, and then they're hoping to start the outdoor phase in 2020, early 2024, and then have that done by the end of 2024. So they're still on track, I think, for a 2-year completion for the whole project, which would be fantastic.
That's awesome. Have you heard any? Have they started talking to him about who's going to rent some of the businesses or restaurants or hotels?
They won't mention specifically, but I know they have a lot in the works, and a lot of people are going to be really happy with some of the things once they come to fruition. So it's going to be great.
At that same time out there, the one other, I hate to say again, issue, but whatever you want to call it, complication or potential roadblock is that they're also going to be working on that Route 57 interchange sometime in the next couple of years. With that being done, and then the sports complex, what do you foresee there? Yeah,
so they the IDOT has decided, and they're sending out bids this spring for it's going to be called a Diamond Teardrop roundabout, or I don't know if they don't even call it a roundabout, but what it's going to be. So it's going to be a unique thing just for Illinois. We're going to be the very first one who has one of these, and it's meant to continue the traffic flow rather than stoplights. They just couldn't do the clover leafs anymore because they would have to have taken over like what's now the Hampton Inn, which is changing hands, but they would have had to extend them so much that it would have taken over some existing properties. So they decided that they go with this structure. It is going to be a little challenging at first. They have some of these as we've talked before, they have some of these in Indiana. They don't have the traffic flow that we have here, so it's just going to take a while for people to get used to it. But I think in the long run, now that it's here, hey, we got to accept it. So it will be challenging, especially for people coming, initially to the community because it's right where the sports complex is going to be as well. So.
Now, will Route 16 be affected too as well?
Yes, it'll be a little bit affected. They're going to have to understand that they can't just fly through there anymore under the underpass. They're going to have to yield for traffic in some spots. So it's going to be a challenge for people for a while.
There you go. Michelle?
Yeah, I was just trying to picture what the diamond looked like in my head. So.
Yeah, it's almost like two roundabouts, very elongated roundabouts, where you navigate through on each side on the what would be the Charleston side of the Mattoon side, and cars are going to be able to cut in front of people going north or south on 57. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get used to, but
I'm not a big fan of roundabouts. Have you
I
ever
don't
been in like southern Wisconsin where they have all those roundabouts? And, yeah,
They have some in Indiana though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Indiana has a lot of roundabouts, so yeah.
There you go. Well, we'll get. Well, that's good. That's a good update on the sports complex. A lot of people have been asking about Emerald Acres. The other thing I didn't really know about was that you're talking. You sent me a note about a new indoor gun range and retail facility, kind of across from Rural King's corporate headquarters on the. I'm terrible at directions. Again, the west side of Mattoon. So talk about that.
Yeah, real exciting. There's a group of investors who are going to be opening, and if you drive by that area, you'll see they already have some equipment there that they want to start right away in the spring. Once the ground thaws, and it's going to be an indoor gun range, which there isn't one, anywhere near us, and they're working very closely with the Mattoon PD, the Charleston PD. So that it can be used for safety training for them, safety training for people who have guns, and they're also going to have a retail component of it. So it's going to be 17,000 square feet, which is significant size.
It's a big building. Yeah.
And they're going to have at least 8 different gun range bays, and then they're going to have areas for safety training for different city municipalities and things. So real exciting stuff. It's going to be great.
They have a time frame on estimate of that, or
they are wanting to be done again within a year, so that'll be great.
That's
That'll be
another
great.
neat venture. And is that local investors or
Local? Yes,
Okay.
some local investors. Yes.
All right. Then the new corporate headquarters for Central Roofing is
Yeah,
coming?
Central Roofing. They used to have corporate headquarters in Sullivan. Now they are moving their corporate headquarters to the old, and I'm sure you're familiar with the old S&K Air Supply building, which has been vacant for a while. So it's just great to see vacant buildings being utilized by different people, and so they're expanding their footprint. They're going to double the size of their corporate headquarters, and they're investing in our community. So it's fantastic. It's
That's
great
good.
news.
One of the things that I've noticed about it, and this is really kind of a Mattoon and Charleston thing lately, but a lot of little new boutiques and shops are popping up. And that just seemed to, out of nowhere, it seemed like everywhere you see another little dress shop or a boutique. Can you talk about a little of that? I know you're mostly the Mattoon side, but talk about that.
Yeah, so we have a lot, even downtown Mattoon now. We have Taylor Boutique. We have Hissy Fit and Fabulous. I love that name. It's called Hissy Fit and Fabulous. But we have a lot of different boutiques that are opening up. I'm not the shopper for that. We have Birch Boutique. We have, I think, 3 or 4 of them downtown Mattoon, and there's just obviously there's a draw for it. A lot of people. There's not a lot of major clothing options around here, so I think they love the fact that they can get. You're shaking your head, right?
There's not.
They like the fact that they can go to these boutiques, and a lot of them cater to different groups too. So like Taylor's more the young crowd and things like that. Birch is more the older crowd. So they all have their unique niche, and they're doing great. So yeah,
That's good, and it makes downtown look better when those
Yeah,
buildings
absolutely.
are definitely open. Or is it still Midtown officially, or is it downtown?
Downtown,
again?
yep,
Okay.
downtown,
For a
yeah.
while it was Midtown. Remember?
yeah. Midtown, yep. And now
There
it's
you go.
downtown.
I know you also want to talk a little bit about your chamber dinner coming up in February.
Yeah, we have our chamber dinner. It's going to be at the new Hilton Garden Inn and Yost McKenna Convention Center, and it's going to be February 25th. We always recognize the Citizen of the Year of Mattoon, who was voted by people throughout the community, and we also have the Small Business of the Year. So real exciting. It's going to be unique because it's going to be the first time they have a big event there. I know they've had some sporting teams out there at the convention center, and I think that's gone really well. So it's great. Again, another business that opened up that's going to be utilized for different events and everything. So a lot of good stuff happening.
There you go, Michelle.
What are some of the qualities that the Citizen of the Year would get picked for?
Sure. Well, we've done the Citizen of the Year since 1959. The Chamber has been responsible for helping award the Citizen of the Year, and basically it's someone who has not only done great as a business person, but just philanthropic. What they do for the community, how they're involved in the community, and what's great about Mattoon is we have so many people who are deserving of this award, and so many candidates who give back so much to the community. It's always hard to pick just one individual each year. So that's what's great is we have a committee, and they have to vote on it each year, and we have so many people who are just do such great for the community, not only in their business but in general, it's just so great to be able to recognize these people for all they do, all their accomplishments.
Put you on the spot real quick.
Yeah.
Can you name like a few in the past recent years? Do you know?
Sure.
So examples of some people we
Yeah,
might
in the
know?
past recent years, we've had Steve Thompson, who posthumously was awarded. We've had the Kearneys, if you remember.
Yeah.
They were majorly responsible for Little League in Mattoon.
Baseball,
We've had Keith Summers, of course, what he does for the downtown. He was
just a little bit.
Yeah,
Keith.
just a little bit for Mattoon. We've had Mike Witwicky, who again, he was hugely responsible for what happened with sports and the Cross County Mall, and things. So we've had a lot of just fantastic candidates who have definitely earned their right to be.
At some point, we're not going to ask you this question anymore, but if we don't ask it, we have to, right? What's the latest on the Dunkin' Donuts in Mattoon? Everybody's mind.
Yeah. So my understanding is they. From Kyle Gill, who's the city administrator, he said that they have now officially filed a permit. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but Kyle seems very confident that that's a big deal and that's very important, because once that's done, it's usually a for sure thing to happen. They are planning on late spring, I think, to finally break ground there. It's been an ongoing thing, and it's supposed to be by the old Taco Bell area, which is right in front of the mall. It's been an ongoing thing. It's kind of been a joke because it's been what three, 4 years,
2-3 years, and we've been talking about it here. And you're on usually at the spring and then the winter, and we'll ask you. Hopefully in the winter we'll have some better, more news from you, Ed. Villa Pizza also is going to expand across the street into the former, I call it Brian's Place, but there's been many things there. So have you heard anything about when?
Yeah, so I just heard on Facebook, of course, and I know John Arena, the owner, very well. He's actually a neighbor of mine, but they got their pizza oven, which was a big deal because, as you guys know, getting equipment nowadays with all the different, things that are going on with the shipping and China and all those things. They got their pizza oven. They're very excited. But wouldn't it be great to be able to eat in again? They had a great dine-in experience there. They had the lunch specials and buffets and things. So I'm real excited. It sounds like they should hopefully be done by the end of the year.
Oh, really?
Yes,
okay, that's good there.
So,
anything in your mind over there, Michelle, from a student perspective?
No, that's
Right. That's all right. I know you're with Charles. The one thing I guess we always try to be positive, but the one thing that I guess we have to ask you about from your point of view, not that you have anything to do with it, but power bills and property taxes have both went up in Coles County, Mattoon. How, as a chamber director, what do you have to say about that, and does it concern you? It's kind of a two-sided question.
Yeah. So what happened with the power bills? The chamber, we actually had a aggregate, and what it means is if you're able to get a whole group of people together and buy a huge bank of power, usually for the last 20 years we've been able to tell people, okay, you're going to pay, let's say, 4 cents a kilowatt hour, right? Well, what happened is, and not to get too political, but a lot of the government regulations have shut down a lot of the coal-fired plants, and they're saying, we need alternate energies and things. Well, they didn't really have everything in place yet. They didn't have all the solar and the wind and things in place yet. So what happened is there's a huge demand, but there's not enough supply because they shut down a lot of these, different opportunities. So the price just jumped substantially. Like, for instance, the city of Mattoon had ours was about 4 cents a kilowatt hour. The city of Mattoon had one for all the residents and a lot of the businesses at 4.6 cents a kilowatt hour. It jumped to 12 cents a kilowatt hour because Ameren, it's not Ameren's fault. Their costs are way up. So, unfortunately, a lot of people just opened their bills recently, and their bills were just through the roof. Property taxes, again. There's I don't know enough about the property taxes. I'm more for businesses and things, but I do understand that there's a lot of people whose property taxes just jumped substantially. I think there was a lot of issues with that, things weren't in place. They weren't being raised annually. They went from 16 years without any increases on a lot of cases, and then then they're trying to catch back up. Well, it's really hard for these people, when you when you try to do a 16-year increase in one shot, it's just people can't afford it, and so it's a tough thing. And of course, Illinois, other than California, we have the second highest property taxes of any state in the union. So again, that hurts us.
Well,
as
and
well.
it also means that it's less people that probably want to move here or
Exactly.
open business here, and that makes it tough for everybody.
Exactly.
But
So-
speaking of people, when businesses open up, I know people have to become members of the chamber. But let's say you get wind of a new business opening up or a new business pops up. How often, or what's the Chamber of Commerce from Mattoon's point of view? Do you go calling them immediately, or do you try to get them beforehand, or what does that DAO do to kind of welcome a new business? That's opening up?
So what I usually do, we usually try to give them, a little bit of time to, get their bearings, get their feet wet. Like for instance, Holy Moly Donuts is a perfect
Yeah.
example. They're doing phenomenal. They're doing a great job. I don't even think Duncan will hurt them that much, but and then I knew the owner Troy Walker and his wife, and they're great people. And I just stop in after they get going and just say, hey, what can we do for you? What can we do to help you? We think you have a fantastic business model. It's the same way with really any business. We try to say, what can we do to help you be successful? And a lot of the businesses, they learn what the chamber does, the different regulations we can provide them with, the different resources, the shop local, campaigns that we do for them. So it's just a great package that we offer to these businesses to help them be successful. So.
And do you have is every business do you treat it the same, or do you kind of do a little research so you have like a game plan when you go in?
Definitely do research. There's different. Each business is their own unique animal. There's retail versus professional, things like that. So you have to gear it differently. You have to know who you want to talk to, especially if they're a bigger business. Who's the person who's you need to make contact with to make them understand and make them be welcome and things. So
let's say I'm just playing devil's advocate on some different type questions.
Sure.
If someone comes to you, and I'm not file a complaint's the wrong way to say it, but let's say they just gripe about Michelle's business. It's like, Michelle, I went in there and I got treated terribly or whatever. Do you react to that, or do you just sit there and be a listener? How does the chamber do they have a position on that?
Yeah. So if it's a chamber member, I for sure say, I will reach out to because I know all the chamber, the main contact person, the go-to person at these businesses, and I definitely will say I will contact them and I will get back with you. If it's a non-member, I do tread a little lightly. I kind of listen to them, and then I try to determine. Is it something that's really am I going to be able to help if I talk to this business leader, this person from this business, and help make them a solution? Because you want every business, every person who has a concern or issue about something in our community in Mattoon, I want to help. I want to make them be successful. I want to make them say, you know what, it's great. The chamber helped us. So normally I do help it, but again, you have to kind of weigh, whether that person really wants the feedback and how you approach the feedback, because some people, they get very defensive. So you got to be careful how you approach that feedback and how you present the issue with them, because a lot of times, there's always two sides to every story. So you have to be a little compassionate for both.
Yeah,
So.
and the other thing is, it seems like people go to social media to complain.
Yes.
Yeah.
More than actually maybe go out and talk to somebody face to face, and so I think that's where the chamber can intervene a little bit.
Yes, I'm telling you, social media kind of drives me crazy, because a lot of people, they get upset in the moment and they immediately go to social media, and then and then everybody. I'm sorry, I call them trolls, but people, tag onto it and they say, yeah, blah, 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 And then a lot of times when I talk to these people, they say, I probably really shouldn't have done it. It was the heat of the moment. I had one bad experience, and so I try to, help resolve those situations. But you're right. It is the social media can be it's a great thing, but sometimes it can be
think before you hit send, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it can be bad just because if people haven't been to the specific place yet and they see like a couple bad reviews, then they won't go.
Exactly.
And I saw that was going around this weekend for a business, in not in Mattoon, but it's like you feel bad for them because again, it's word of mouth sometimes can kill a business. When you
and everyone has a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone
And
has
everybody has a
day.
bad business day, too.
Everyone has a bad business day. So there is going to be times where that happens. And to your point, if you get a lot of people who see that and they end up not utilizing that business's services, who usually probably does a great job, it's just detrimental. Yeah.
It brings me back to a comedian once who said, everybody hates the telephone solicitations, but he goes, you ever think about it? Maybe we should listen to them. There might be some really, really great deals on there, but we immediately just just
hang up. Yeah, yeah.
One thing on your website I was noticing is the Mattoon Chamber Charitable Corporation.
Yes.
What type of things do they do for the city of Mattoon?
Yeah, so what's great about the Mattoon Chamber Charitable Corporation is we were given about 6 years ago. We were given a family, the Sackow family. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They had a house that they wanted to donate to the chamber, and they wanted to do it potentially for just people in the community to be able to get some resources. So we developed the Mattoon Chamber Charitable Corporation, and what we do is every year we give at least 2 or usually 3 now, because we get enough money for it, scholarships for Mattoon High School students. And what we found is that, there's a lot of people are able to get the traditional scholarships for college or university studies, but there's a lot of people who go for trades and things like that and go for different organizations where they don't necessarily get the scholarship opportunities. So what we do is we give 2 scholarships for vocational people who are going into different trades like HVAC or things like that. And then we give 1 traditional college scholarship to Mattoon High School students who are graduating every year. And it's just so rewarding. What we do is we ask them to do a essay, and we just say, what impact are you going to make on your community once you finish whatever, either your vocation or your college, and what do you think is great about your community that you can give back? So it's just a fantastic thing. We hear great essays, and it's just really rewarding to do that. So.
And then you have an ambassador club for people that help the chamber out. Talk about what those people do and kind of maybe, because they're kind of like behind the scenes. They do a lot of the grunt work, I always say, but they maybe don't get as much credit as some people should get.
Yeah, so it's fantastic. We have 26 actually members of our ambassadors club, and these are people who are willing to volunteer their hours. They're at all our events. They volunteer. They help out. They help deliver our directories. They help negotiate with people and help us when we need just help with events and things. We actually recognize one of them at our annual dinner as well, the Ambassador of the Year. And again, it's just a great opportunity for people who to volunteer their time, and we couldn't do it without them. We only have 2 employees, so we need those ambassadors to help us at all our events and things. So it's just a great opportunity, and it's just so nice and rewarding that we have 26 people who are willing to volunteer for that.
How do you decide the Ambassador of the Year? Is that your board, or is it an outside?
What we do is we have an ambassador coordinator, and she solicits all the other ambassadors and says, okay, who do you think stood out this year? And so they pick them themselves. So
that's good. Speaking of employees, Carolyn Cloyd, she's still working for you?
Absolutely.
She's doing well?
Yes, she's doing fantastic. I got so lucky, as you know, she gave up her gig at the United Way that she was doing for 18 years, and she decided to come work at the chamber, of course because of me. No.
That's what Michelle was saying. Yeah.
Who would not want to work with that? No, but it's just been so rewarding. She has a year under her belt now, and I can't be happier than I've had with Carolyn being my assistant. It's just been a wonderful experience. So, and I went from Latanya Davies, who now is running her own business, all for them Latanya's Pet Care Services. So it's just great that both of them are being successful. So.
We're talking to Ed Dowd today from the Mattoon Chamber of Commerce. Ed, when you talk to businesses who are not a member, you meet them at the gas station or wherever you go to eat or visit or watch a ball game, do you find yourself trying to convince them to become a member, or do you kind of just tell us that Ed Dowd?
Yeah, if I can have a conversation with them, and if the conversations go in that way, I'll mention, hey, we haven't had you as a member yet. What would it take for you to be a member? What can we do for you to make you more successful? That I always try to tell them. What can I do to make you more successful? Because each business is different. Each business needs something different to make them successful. So I try to say, what can we do to make you more successful? And a lot of them, they're willing to say, boy, I could use some help with this or that, or employees, or just maybe getting the word out about what my services are and things. So yeah, it's great to be able to talk to these people and mention and really help businesses be successful. So I try to do that.
What are some like benefits that you've pitched before that like you could help them with?
Yeah, so one of the big things we've had lately is there's this, and a lot of the small businesses aren't able to keep track of all the legislative issues that are going on. One of them is sexual harassment training. The state of Illinois has required that every single business, even if you have one employee, you have to get the sexual harassment training, and you have to have it certified each year. And a lot of these businesses just don't have the resources or time to do that. So we created a program, and it's free for our members. And it's just been so beneficial because, you know, is the state of Illinois going to go after you if you have an issue with sexual harassment? No. But, you know, if you have an issue, if somebody says they were, you know, treated that way and you didn't have that training done by the employees, you know, you're going to open yourself to huge liabilities. And we had over 2,500 people take the training, members, individuals, member businesses take the training last year. So it's just rewarding. Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So
when you
thank
talk
you. Good question.
about shopping local, and I think everybody, you always hear it all the time, shop local, shop local. But from Ed Dowd's point of view, what's shop local mean for Mattoon?
Yeah, so what I try to tell people is, you know, whenever I'm in a meeting, whenever I'm in a group of people, I always say, okay, raise your hands. How many of you have used Amazon in the last week?
30 minutes.
Yeah, in the last week, everyone raised their hand. I go, how many of you have decided that, you know what, maybe if I went to a local shop, they might have that goods, you know, and hardly anybody raised their hand. They go, you know, it's so easy. Amazon just makes it so easy now. All these other websites make it so easy. But just take the time to really see what's available. And everyone I talk to who ends up going and visiting these shops, especially boutiques or things like that, you can get almost anything you can on Amazon locally if you just take a few minutes. And, you know, you get that personal touch, you get that personal interaction, which you don't on Amazon. And, you know, these people are more than happy to help you and come up with a solution for you for whatever you're trying to get or whatever you're trying to buy. So I always try to mention, you know, think about it next time before you click that little button and
before you
order
hit
that
send,
thing.
right?
Yeah. You know, check out what's available locally. You know, they always want to help.
And still a potentially big business or big name business for the old Donnelly's LSC Communications going in.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was just talking with Coles Together, Angela Griffin, and you know it's such a. I mean, it's pretty much a known thing now. The trucks are out there, the businesses out there. So you know, technically they haven't officially announced it yet, but it might be a farm implement company that uses green and gold as their main colors and
rhymes with fear.
Yeah, rhymes with And the thing that's great is, you know, they're going to have up to 200 jobs. They're going to do some manufacturing, distribution, and warehousing, and you know, and they're taking over the entire facility. I mean, that's just huge for our community. I can't wait till they, you know, make it public. But it's funny, if you go to a local establishment that sells equipment like that, you might get the full story. So, but yeah, unfortunately, you know, as you get the big corporations, Fortune 500 companies, it takes them a while to make a press release, but it'll be coming soon because they're already out there. So it's just so exciting though for our community.
More good news. Ed, we're out of time. You did great again, my man.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ed Dowd. That's Ed Dowd from the Chamber. Thanks, Michelle. And we are WEIU. Everybody have a great day. We'll talk to you next Monday.